Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. So this is a news and rumor patrol video. I like rumors. I like news. I like rumors. I think rumors are fun, right? Bottom line, I think rumors are just a lot of fun and often right? What is a rumors? Is somebody with some inside knowledge maybe spilling some beans, or people just looking at things and putting two and two together. Normally is quite a good source, but yeah, we're in an age of great news and rumors because Russell Davies is now in charge of Doctor Who, who's very, very, very good at teasing the public. Yes, he's we expect a very long edging session between now and November 2023. If you don't know what edging is, as I didn't, right? I didn't know until somebody introduced that concept. Don't look it up, right? Don't look it up. I'll spoil it for you. It's the process of prolonging masturbation. Male masturbation, I assume. Yeah, male masturbation. I mean, not that having a penis makes you male anymore. But anyway, that penis masturbation, be it with a male penis or a girl penis, right? But you focus on the edges to it. The experience lasts a little bit longer. I just thought that's the way you're supposed to do it. I'm like, really? Why would anybody rush that? Okay, I mean, honestly, it doesn't. I mean, I guess you I only got 2 minutes for the bus. No, normally it's a leisure activity. Why would anybody be like, oh no, I'm not going to take my time? I don't know. Okay, these are questions that we ask ourselves here, which I'm not going to answer. Right? I'm not going to answer. But the point is this: we're in for a lot of fun. We're in for a lot of fun over the next year as Russell Davies slowly teases things out. Now, I know a lot of you out there, a lot of you watching, you think this video, think it's going to be awful, right? I think it's just going to be more of the same of Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who or the MCU or Star Wars. Everything is just going to be more dire stuff, which is basically what we got from Disney, right? I'm much more optimistic, and I don't think we got any reason not to be optimistic. I mean, the reason is you don't want to get hurt, right? The reason not to be optimistic is because we've been burnt before, right? I remember at the beginning, I was at season 12, just before it came out. Go and look at my channel. I put out a video saying, I am ready for Doctor Who to break my heart again. I was ready to give it a second chance. I thought, maybe they learnt the lesson from season 11. And they sort of did, but they really didn't. And I didn't realize how bad season 11 was until after season 12, when I really went back and did a deep dive review, right? But honestly, the first run, nobody knew how bad it was. It was just like, what? Anyway, I digress. So we're going to be looking at the ratings for the Power of Doctor, and the ratings for the Jodie Whittaker era in general. A little bit of news for the upcoming RTD2, right? Which I'm surprised nobody's hasn't photoshopped him with an RTD2 body yet, right? I am somewhat surprised about that. But anyway, we have a lot to get through. I don't think we're going to get through all of it in this video, quite frankly, right? I don't think we're going to do that at all. But before we get into it, like, share, subscribe. All those things are good. Thank you very much. I am very, 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 very appreciative for everybody liking, sharing, subscribing. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. If you're on Rumble, hit the Rumble button. Sign up my Substack, my email newsletter, where you find out where all my sparkling content may be. The golden shower of content that leaps out from me. Maybe I should have worded that better. Anyway, yeah, it's free, and I also put a bunch of extra stuff in it. I was putting the 1980s Dan Dare comic strips in, which they've never been reprinted, which I think is so weird. I think I'll start doing that again. That's quite easy. But I put a bunch of extra stuff in. I have a paid version, which you're going to start getting chapters from my new book, Ecky Thump, The Guide to the Jodie Whittaker Era. When I start writing it, I have to finish writing a short story first. That's my next writing project. I have to finish writing a short story first. But anyway, you get that for the paid version. That's $5 a month. Thank you very much to everybody signing up. Fine, like, share, subscribe, comment, Substack. Yes, we've covered everything. So let's talk about David Tennant's return to Doctor Who. Firstly, I don't understand why everybody's going, oh, what a shock, what a surprise. I mean, you did see all those filming photos from early this year when Meet the Beep and all these things blowing up. Neil Patrick Harris, you do remember that, right? All that happened, right? I was somewhat surprised and a little bit disappointed to see David Tennant materialize at the end of the Jodie Whittaker episode. I think it was clearly shot to be a cliffhanger regeneration, because they had no idea what they're doing, and David Tennant's bit seemed to be inserted in. But again, national press is like, oh my God, David Tennant! Like, we know. We all geeked out when we saw the pictures. We all know about these things. But anyway, they apparently didn't. Even they did. But how is he back? I mean, that's really the big question over his lip. How is David Tennant back? It seemed to be that they regenerated into this new Doctor, right? But it was a somewhat different regeneration. The clothes changed as well, which I think is indicative. So what's really going on? So I have a theory, and if you look at the clothes, I think it confirms this theory, right? I think it confirms this theory. Fine. So this is David Tennant, just as regenerated. Now, if you look at his tie, right, and he's got a traditional 10th Doctor look. If you squint, right, it's like if you squint out the corner of the eye, he looks like the 10th Doctor. But then when you look more closely, like this tie is like cut off and flat, which is a bit weird. And the thing that I found really interesting is this over here. You see where he looks inside, and he's not wearing a real coat, right? Doesn't have arms on it. Now, what is up with that? What on earth is up with that? So I just thought this, which something very traditional fanish thing, is to customize one's action figures. So most of us have been through this. Here's my my Paul McGann Night of the Doctor custom that I did before they brought out the official one, and quite frankly, I prefer it. Right, I prefer it. Now, how I did this was I took a coat from Colin Baker. Right, the understanding how this works really explains it. I took the coat from Colin Baker. I took the body from Keeper of Traken, Fourth Doctor, because he had the right boots, right? And I took the head that came as a spare head with the War Doctor figure. Big boom, put them all together, repainted it, made them a little scarf. There you go. You got the War. You got the McGann Doctor, right? So So why am I talking about this? Because this tells you a lot about action figures, which I think is what the audience, us weirdos, know about. Because we know the action figures are fake, right? Let's take a look at this one. This one isn't really Colin Baker. This is a little model of Colin Baker, right? But this is supposed to look like a man wearing a jacket, right? A man wearing a shirt and jacket. How is not that at all? This the flowy bit of the jacket is one bit of plastic. You take it off, and you'll see like the waistcoat's cut off. Everything you don't see is cut off because it's all fake, right? Because it's a doll, right? Because it's doll. So look over here again. We have something similar going on over here. We see he's missing his sleeves in this outfit, right? I think this Doctor is a action figure created by the Celestial Toymaker, assuming that Neil Patrick Harris is the Celestial Toymaker. We saw the sign saying Toymaker of the Year. So I think this is a like an action figure7how made real and imprinted upon the Doctor as they were regenerating. There's absolutely fantastic clip out there. I'm not sure if I'm going to incorporate or not, because I will get a copyright claim, not a copyright. So I'll put it in. I'll put in a copyright claim where somebody TARDIS time, I believe, has taken a copy of Twice Upon a Time as Capaldi's regenerating, right, and then spliced it to this David Tennant regeneration. It works perfectly. I mean, I'm telling you, it works absolutely 100% perfectly, right? It's incredible how well it works. So in my head canon now, the whole Jodie Whittaker era really just took place in some kind of in the Doctor's head as he was regenerating. It's essentially, it was an attack by the Celestial Toymaker to weaken the Doctor to the point that they could then implant this Erstats Doctor on top of it, which I think is what we're going to find. So I think that we're going to have a big reveal, maybe at the end of episode 1 or episode 2, that this Doctor is really an action figure. Dun dun dun. And again, because we all have action figures, right? And this is how Rusty Davies thinks, right? This is how I think he because he writes because he's very much connected to the audience, right? And he understands the audience, and I think that's why his work resonates so well. I think that's why it works so well as Doctor Who, even though it's very different from every other Doctor Who. I always said that, the first year was kind of like Shameless meets Doctor Who, and it really, really did work. Now, what didn't work, bless her little heart, was Jodie Whittaker's run on Doctor Who. So let's have a quick look at, this is now her entire ratings, right? We see a steady decline apart from 3 areas, right? We have Area 1 over here, which is can I highlight this? Yeah, you go. Area 1 over there. That little uptick, that is the holiday special. So yeah, the way I've noticed viewing figures work is the British public have to realize something is good or bad, and it takes them a few weeks for that really to settle in. When Doctor Who first came back in 2005, it took about 2 or 3 weeks before it started getting great ratings, and the AI as well. The AI, and I thought those early episodes were excellent, but the AI, the audience appreciation, it didn't go up past 85 till then. Above 85 is considered a very, very good AI. Appreciation index, I think it's called. Appreciation index, and it basically stayed there for most of its run until it got. I would say until it got to Jodie, but I would say much more until these radical weirdos had infiltrated the BBC, right, and take them over with like their weird ideology, which says that if you're a type of person who think only women can have babies, you're a bad person, right? It's weird. It seemed to be, up until 20 minutes ago, that's where one of the few places that science and religion actually agreed. Not anymore. And you're a bad person if you think that. But we do see a significant uptick in the ratings. Let's go zoom in and we'll look at Flux and the specials, which I still think is the best thing it's done, and we can see it a little more clearly. And you get a significant uptick. Not quite as significant enough to get it back to the dizzying lows that it started off with Doctor Who Flux at Halloween Apocalypse, but a significant now update ending up on 5.3. Now this, of course, is a bit of bullshit. Really is a bit of bullshit, because the thing that they really wanted to make sure of is their rating stayed above 3.3, which was the lowest rated episode by Sylvester of the classic run. Played by Sylvester McCoy, Battlefield, right? Battlefield episode 1. Now, interesting there is, unlike this chart, Battlefield was like the season 26 had the opposite. What's the word? Direction. This one's going. Yeah, this one's going straight down. Where season 26 was. I can't do it from up here. It goes boom, straight up. Right. It was the lowest part was episode 1, and it just built from there. But also, I want to say these figures are a little bit BS, right? A little bit BS. Let's look over here. We go doink. Right. So this is a good website to see ratings. DoctorWhoTV.co.uk ratings accumulator. So we get to see the overnight figure. That's the people who watched it overnight. Then we got to see how many more people added on during the week watching it on iPlayer, and then we got the 4-screen thing, which is bullshit essentially, right? Essentially bullshit. But they take the highest rating as the final rating. Again, a little bit of bullshit, I think. Honestly, if you have a 2-minute view on iPlayer, you're considered a full view, which it's not. And it's not really comparing apples to apples in my mind. I think apples to apples will be the live figure, right? The people who watched it live, that only came out by accident when I think it was accident when Doctor Who magazine had an article going over the ratings. They wanted to show how much it improved in catch up. And it was, so they showed the live figure, which was tiny, right? The live figure for Power of the Doctor was very low. We're going to look at it in a minute. So honestly, I think the live figure is the reason why, because back in, 88, 89, what was it, 88, 89, we all had VCRs, we all had, video recorders, right? We all recorded episodes. Most people had one TV in their house, and their mum wanted to watch Coronation Street, you recorded Doctor Who, right? Or you watched it on the black and white in the kitchen, right? That was the horror of the 1980s that we lived through. But let's look at this news report from Doctor Who News, which is not the greatest of sites, but not bad at all. So here, this one breaks it down in a much more digestible, not mine, but a much more intricate way. So the weekly consolidated figures for have been released, indicating that Jodie Whittaker's Swan Song Marrow Doctor got 5.295 million viewers, which basically means, like, going back to this big spike here at the end, it basically means that, here, let's look at this one, we can see it more clearly. That huge spike there at the end for Power of the Doctor, that was mostly the last 2 to 3 minutes when she regenerated on iPlayer. Like, most of that comes from it, right? But don't let truth get in the way of propaganda. Making it the second most watched program on Sunday night and the fifth most watched program of the week. If you put anything good on, I think you would get more people watching TV. That's basically the bottom line. Top of the week was Saturday Strictly Come Dancing, which saw Tyler West and Dance Bar the Diane Busson performing the tango to the Doctor Who theme. That was the weirdest thing ever, right? I'm watching Strictly Come Dancing, waiting for Doctor Who to start, and it's just all these people that don't look like they should be on TV dancing. Like, there was nobody there who I would say looked normal, right? They had this big fat woman dancing with another woman. We had a short person, not a short person, a little person. I don't know what the correct terminology is. Honestly, I don't want to get in trouble, and I don't want to be offensive, right? I really don't want to be offensive. And speaking as a reasonably offensive guy, I don't want to be offensive. Right, so that got 9.894. Oh, that's the same sort of ratings Doctor Who used to get before Jodie Whittaker. Oh, before Common Purpose came in and took over the BBC and told everybody, you're all racist. You're all bigots and racist. Oh yeah, didn't go down so well. So then, next thing was Sunday's results show. Also beat it. 8.63, Great British Break Off at 7.794, and Doc Martin was fifth with 5.610. Now, I would say the implosion of drama across the entertainment media is probably something to do with the drama being just so full of identity politics, right? It's just everything is about identity politics. Fine, so let's read a little bit further. The episode achieved 5.1 via TV viewing, which placed at 6 with Wednesday's Coronation Street. Some get 500,000 more viewers. 500,000 is a lot. However, once the other ways factors of watching are factored in, the full screen, it enabled the episode to overtake the soap by some 500,000. Way! Sunday's BBC News at 10, which featured an interview with David Tennant on his return to the role, which originally was ahead of Doctor Who in the overnights. Several in the 23rd. So they're saying it gets more people watching it on catch-up. Yes, Doctor Who fans do that. We've always been online, right? But now, let's break down the ratings, right? Breaking down the ratings, the episodes are watched by, listen to this number, 2.37 live, right? 2.37 live for the regeneration episode. That's tiny. Battlefield, once again, episode 1, 3.3. And don't tell me nobody had catch up. Nobody had VCRs. Yes, we did. Right. Gained another 1.25 in the overnight. So bringing up to 3.5, 3.62. Right. 3.6. Pathetic. I mean, is that? But the final listing was 3.7. So there, they included the four screen thing as well, which again I think is bullshit. The last 7 days saw an additional 1.48, 1.59 catch up the show. These are tiny numbers. The lowest rated episode for Capaldi was Eaters of Light. What was that? 4.6, I think. 4.4, 4.6 around there. But it got a really low overnight. It got like a 2.2 overnight, much like the Legend of the Sea Devils. But it had a massive 2 million catch up, which is the Jodie era has never ever been able to achieve. The position marks the highest place the show has aired since Whittaker's first few episodes back in 2018. Yes, where her debut hit the spot, made it hit the top spot, and the next 3 episodes made the 4th place. Yes, I understand. Then people started watching it and they ran screaming. Right? They ran absolutely screaming. For viewing figures in ABC was what's that? 100,000. 103,000, blimey. And they're freaking out that Disney Plus is taking it away from them. Really, 103,000? How many people are living there? That doesn't sound like a huge number at all. But the bottom line is this. Was Jodie Whittaker's era popular? Let's just say, was it popular? No. How do we know it's not popular? Because of math. Right, because of math. This isn't an indication of a sinking TV viewership. This is an indication that TV is shit, right? And Doctor Who is on the cutting edge of shit, and thus it made this unwatchable garbage. And thus we need to get David Tennant to come back to revive the brand. And anybody professionally saying Doctor Who hasn't done terribly, anybody from the BBC who's saying Doctor Who hasn't done terribly, is lying, right? They are lying. They know that they are lying. The BBC knows they are lying. They are lying, right? Although, I mean, the good news is it failed so completely, it allowed Rusty Davies to come in and just completely revamp the show, which is what I think's happening right now. I mean, honestly, we're supposed to get a big announcement, I think, about a week from now. With the next Doctor Who magazine. I thought it'd be the reveal of the new logo. No, they bought that new logo out right away, didn't they? I mean, they did. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. They bought that new logo out right bloody away. As the first minute that they could. So I don't know what it is. It could be more content that's coming on the Disney Plus channel. I don't think it's just a single program airing on Disney Plus. I think it's a hub. I think it's a tile. And best case scenario is this: that we get you click on the Doctor Who tile. And they keep saying throughout all the promotion, we want to keep it true to itself, right? So I mean, that's really what I think Rusty Davies has done here. I think he's worked out a win-win-win. I think he's worked out a way of fitting into the Disney worldview of diverse programming. Let's say it in the way that they would like to say it, right? He cast Shooty, Rusty Davies is gay. They cast Yasmin Finney. It very much fits into that Disney worldview. But it fits in slightly better because Rusty Davies is helming it, who has a track record of being able to write things for this franchise, write things for the Doctor Who franchise that connect to the audience. That's like they haven't got before. They haven't been able to have their worldview represented and still connect to the audience. That's what they're really going for. And that's why I think they're investing in it so heavily. So I think we're going to get a Doctor Who tile. I think we're going to get, be able to choose all the different doctors, see everything. Wouldn't that be great? I don't know if I'm right, but just imagine, right? You'll be able to get every different doctor on demand, all their stories, all the animations, hopefully the extra stuff that's on the DVDs. You're going to get the modern era. You have Torchwood, Sarah Jane Adventures, Doctor Who, obviously the modern era, plus the new ongoing programming, which will be Doctor Who and whatever else there is. But there's another tier of programming they can put in on top of that with this technology, and this is where I think Russell's really thinking about, because he's such a great marketer, right? And again, I know a lot of you out there going, "Oh, see, it's going to suck horribly." Maybe it will. How's it hurt to be optimistic, right? I know it hurts because we don't want to be burnt, right? But I just think there's reason to be optimistic, man. I really, really, really do, right? Because from what I heard from inside the BBC, it was a disaster, and they are not happy, right? But Chibnall just did what he was told, what they wanted, which is somewhat strange. Anyway, a whole nother tier of programming on top of that, where they could do YouTube type programming. They could do watch-alongs, right? They could have, you could have like City of Death, right? And do a watch-along of that, and have like, it'll be like a Zoom. You'd have like Mark Gatiss, Rusty Davis, so everybody watching it at the same time. And you'll be interactive with it, right? It'll bring people into watching new episodes, new viewers and watching old episodes of Doctor Who. You'll have like commentary content, but I hope it won't be as saccharine as the Star Trek stuff, right? This is what they want to do with Star Trek, so I am excited about the future, because if it's done right, as I think it might well be, it's going to be incredible. I think Big Finish is have some problems though, because their business model is not for streaming, right? They're as far as I understand it, their contract doesn't offer them viable terms to stream material, but they do on download and CD. But streaming has grown into the streaming audio has grown into a massive market in America. Like America's like the #1 market now, with things like Spotify, Audible. I think if Bad Wolf bought Big Finish to get that catalog, the catalog is where their value is. That IP, right? That catalog is where that value is. That could form the backbone of a streaming service. If they partner with the BBC and get all the BBC content as well, keeping it genre related, right? Yeah, keeping it all like science fiction-y, fantasy, weird stuff like that, and really tap into that market. Say $2.99 a month, they'll have 100,000 subscribers, 500,000, million, who knows, right? Who knows? And then you'll take that revenue and you may hopefully employ Nick Briggs to be the head of Bad Wolf Audio, and that's where the revenue stream to making new content for audio will come, right? Again, all this is pie in the eye, pie in the sky, but it's so close to actually being real, right? So far, things seem to be I've been saying this about a year now, but so far things seem to be panning out in that direction. So here, speaking of spin, let's look at the Radio Times trying to spin the ratings as not being awful. Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall went out on a high note. Again, let's just show you what that high note looked like again in context. No. The high note is over here, right? Last time they got ratings as low as that was after Doctor Who Flux, right? They went out on a very low note, right? It wasn't until it was season 11 that was the only one that didn't see ratings that low, right? No, they went out on a very low note. But again, this is the spin. This is the lie, right? Let's see how they're going to spin this. The viewing figures are in for Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who swan song, Paradise, which has delivered the sci-fi drama's highest chart position in 4 years. Yes, when people first started seeing Doctor Who, saw how bloody awful it was, they ran bloody screaming, right? They ran screaming because it was unwatchable pap. Right? Audience measurement organization Bob has revealed that the show's 7-day consolidated viewing figures, including those who watched the episodes live and those who called up later this week, stands at a whopping 5.3 million people. Really? No, 5.3 2-minute views in an empty kitchen, maybe. It's the 5th most program of the week after Strictly Come Dancing decimated it, along with was it Bake Off? They didn't show and Doc Martin. Everything decimated it. The Power of the Doctor was a truly momentous episode for the long-running series. No, it wasn't. No, again, what AI did it get as well? I didn't look. AI of 82. Okay, that's the better AI than they've had for many years. Like, that's when's the last time they got that high was the Timeless Children, right? How they got that for that, I don't know, but they did. It's not doing well, right? But again, this is the spin. This is the insane spin. Celebrating BBC centenary and bringing back several legacy cast members, while also giving Whittaker a fitting send-off. Well, it was fitting send-off after 4 years of service. I call it 5 years, even though it's 3 years. A fitting send-off would have been like was it shame marching her through the streets of King's Landing, right? I think, and don't get me wrong, I don't really want to see that, right? I don't want to, but that would have been a fitting send-off, excuse me. Fitting send-off for 4 years of service. The special ended on a jaw-dropping note as the 13th Doctor regenerated to find out 14th was identical to a 10th Doctor. Again, an action figure will be revealed to be an action figure at the end of episode 1 or 2 of the was it the 60th celebrations. BBC Entertainment correspondent Lizzo Mizimba, right? And I always kind of giggle when I see him because he was always like the junior reporter on Newsround when I lived in England. Now he's like senior correspondent Lizzo Mizimba. Notes that 4.4 million watched the climactic scene as it was broadcast live. Yeah, but 2.2 was the average, darling. Okay, let's get real. Yes, because they want to see David Tennant, because nobody likes Jodie Whittaker, because nobody wants to see Jodie Whittaker, because she's not very good at Doctor Who, right? None of this is confusing. None of this is confusing to anyone at all. Was it people watch the climactic live, which gives the idea of a significant difference that catch-up makes the final numbers. Well, other ratings high points for in the 30 Doctor area was a debut episode 10.9. Yes, when people realised when we proved we weren't sexist or racist, when everybody tuned in and went, oh, okay. And then for the next New Year's special, that people hadn't noticed how awful it was, right? People were like, oh, that was not so good. I'm not going to. But yeah, they just had something else to do. So then they flicked it on during Resolution, and then Revolution of the Dalek got 6.3. Yeah. Crashing ratings is not a good sign, mate. It's not a good sign. I don't know why you're high-fiving yourselves on this, but okay. Fans are wondering what the impact of David Tennant and showrunner Sonny Davis will have on the show. Well, the as well as imminent introduction of Shooting Gatwa will have, and the British Institution also eyes overseas expansion with a new Disney Plus deal. The impact of it will be that it won't be Jodie Whittaker. The impact seems to be we want to do very, very traditional Doctor Who. Hey, do you like the Tom Baker logo? Hey, I'll give you a bit of that, right? And in general, I have to tell you, Power of the Daleks did Power of the Daleks. That's what they call it. And there's no Power of the Doctor in it. Somebody, what was it? A review I was doing a video about the other day was saying the Power of the Doctor was her connection to her fam. I'm like, he's never said that in the episode. That's like trying to shoehorn in some meaning into this meaningless babble. Will you stop? So it's, but it was of the Jodie Whittaker stuff. I think it did better than most other things. So they got 25% of the vote for of it. Said gave it a 10 out of 10. Okay, so that's the rabid fan base, obviously. So a few thousand voted. On average, score was 7.41 according to your Doctor Who TV score guide, which indicates the episode was generally considered to be in the good range. It had enough good bits in it that people could forgive it, and people liked seeing Peter Davison, Sylvester McCoy, Sophie Aldred, Janet Fielding. Maybe Janet Tegan was in it too. And the Regenerate people like that stuff, right? But he put enough in it that was not. I was speaking of somebody who's reviewed every episode and hated every episode. This was one of the easiest ones to review because there was a lot of. It was very watchable if you weren't following the plot at all, right? It was just, if you just like letting it flow over you. Okay. This leaves Power of the Doctor as the 80th highest ranked episode of the whole revival. Not even all of Doctor Who. That's just a revival. How many episodes there in total? What, there's 12, 24, 36, 48. It sounds like there's been about 100. That doesn't sound like it's doing very well, right? According to Doctor Who TV rankings, polls taken in 2018. More specifically, it's situated between The Woman Who Fell to Earth and the Spyfall range. Okay, that seems reasonable. I mean, Woman of Felt World probably got better. Was better liked because Spyfall was better liked. Look at that. I guess people like the Master coming back, and also the production values of Spyfall was good. It's the second highest Chibnall written episode. This excludes Chibnall's episodes with more than one writer, such as Rosa. Blimey. Rosa's such a bad episode, right? It's such an intensely bad episode. The standard deviation, which is our measure of how divisive the episode is, that's a good metric, was 2.59, making it the 19th most divisive episode of the Chibnall era. Oh, that's just the Chibnall era. How many episodes do they do? Like 30? I don't know. Okay. It's one of the least divisive ones. Okay. Well, the score over 2 is still undesirable. The episode is less divisive than we have seen in a while. That's very interesting. That is very interesting. Overall, following the woeful performance of Legend of the Sea Devils, the Chibnall era ends on a relative high. Relative high. That's fair. It ends on a relative high, given the massive amounts of fan service and the return of David Tennant. It's not unexpected to see a slight bump. Granted, the definition of high has certainly shifted during the era. That is true. Like, you need to be high to be able to watch this stuff. And I wouldn't do that. That'll be wasting your drugs, because you're just going to be watching this awful Doctor Who. High used to mean in the 9s, but the highest and only episode to break episode of the Chibnall era to break an 8 out of 10. The Future of the Jadoon. The rest highs are entirely in the 7 range. Wow. Okay. And Legend of the Sea Devils got a 4.25. Man, that's pretty bad. That is pretty bad. But, yeah, I think that's fair. Good. The verdict is good, right? So, it's over. Essentially, it's over. Let's look to the future. And here's the thing I think that has most people worried about the future. Yasmin Finney, right? Now, don't be wrong. Yasmin Finney, I'm sure, is a lovely person. I have no connection to them whatsoever. They're also a very young person. They're like 19 years old. And you know, I think everybody should be able to actualize themselves in whatever way they feel they need to. I genuinely believe that. I believe we live in a world where we all have different worldviews, right? And we all need to be able to live together with each other. The trans issue is an interesting one, because both sides of it, people say you are hurting society and you are causing people to kill themselves, right? Both sides of the argument have both sides of the issue have exactly the same argument. The people who are trans say, if you don't make it acceptable, you don't make people accepted who are trans, then they are, then this leads to trans people's suicide. I'm not sure that's true, but that's the argument they use. Then the argument that I somewhat favour is that this. What's the word I want to think of? It's this preference to being trans that we have. The fact that trans is somewhat trendy, somewhat cool, right? So being trans comes with quite a lot of social currency, which was all intentional to make trans people feel that they were accepted. But it comes with a lot of social currency. And I think people are being told that kids are being told they are trans when maybe they're not, right? Especially, you get pubescent young girls who don't like the way they look, and there's a lot of pressure to look good, right? To look attractive, and they don't feel they look attractive enough. A way out of that is to be trans and say, oh, I'm really a boy, and they sidestep the whole thing. Right? Now, I'm not saying this is 100% of the game. I don't know the metrics, right? But both sides are saying the same thing. I think, this rush to reassign gender is going to have disastrous consequences, disastrous suicidal consequences in the future of society. And I feel genuinely mortified for all the people affected by it. I really genuinely do. That being said, it's an issue where, again, we're both saying the same things on both sides. So we see something like Yasmin Finney cast, and I see it to be both sides of the argument say the same thing. We see this as being something to like normalize, and I would say somewhat popularize being trans, right? It's the normalized and popularized being trans. Now, if you're in the trans camp, you're saying, well, that's great. That's going to help people, feel accepted and not kill themselves. If you're in, on the other side of the argument, you're going to say this is terrible. You're going to convince people to be trans who aren't, and they're going to lead to mass suicides, right? As well as being generally detrimental to society. So that's a dichotomy we have with this issue that we have with Yasmin Finney. Again, Yasmin should be able to live and actualize themselves in whatever way they want to be, right? This has a greater societal impact, which is why and I think it's a conversation that really needs to be had. And the fact that I think the trans side wants to stop any conversation is problematic. To want for a better word. Yasmin Finney says Doctor Who world will change the world as she covers British Vogue. I don't think so. Here's the thing. I know you believe it is. I think Russell Davies thinks it will. I don't think so. I think the realities agenda are really hardwired in. And this weird time that we're living through isn't a dawning of a new golden age. I think this is a very a relatively small blip on the societal radar. Let's see what she's got to say. Yasmin Finney is the latest cover for British Vogue, and again, I think this is a popularizing being trans, which depends what your worldview is. Maybe good, maybe bad, right? I'm not saying either way. I'm leaving up for you to decide. The actress memorably rose to fame early this year as Ellie Argent in Netflix's acclaimed teen drama Heartstopper, which Rusty David watched and he liked. It seems like the sort of thing he's into. Which follows the blossoming romance between queer teenager Charlie, Joe Locke, and Kit Connor. Finney has also since become one of the media's most prominent trans women because why? They have a pretty face. They have a very feminine face, right? And they make their makeup, and it makes you feel like, a lot of time when you're looking at trans people, you're looking at somebody who looks very, very manly, dressed as a woman, right? Obviously, and I'm not saying they're not a woman, but she looks very feminine, right? Do you notice I just said she, right? I'm trying to say Yasmin when I'm saying she. Why? Because the image I'm looking at when I see a picture makes me go, oh, that's a girl, right? So that's why I think she's so prominent. And also, I think it's better for me to say she because that keeps me out of trouble as well. Become one of the most prominent with various fashion campaigns confirmed roles in Youngblood's upcoming short film and Doctor Who's 6th anniversary of role as Rose, the titular character's new companion. No one says new companion. It's Donna's daughter, right? Everyone's saying it's Donna's daughter. I'm not sure how much she's in, right? And again, that there are trans people, there are out trans people. I don't think that's a terrible thing. I really don't think that's. I'm not a believer in trans erasure or gay erasure. But again, this is a very, very complex subject where we don't know which way, and we're saying, oh, this is settled science, and I don't think it is. Right? I don't think it is. And again, no ill will in the world to Yasmin or anybody trans. I'm saying this is a dark area where it could go badly. So in an interview with British Vogue, the 19-year-old said, again, it's 19. This person's 19. It's not like it's not like they've lived a full life. Although she couldn't reveal more details because there are spies, if she discusses the universe, it's over. Finney said she felt so honoured to be seen by the Doctor Who showrunner, whose legendary credits are called Clear as Smoke and Cucumber, and It's a Sin. I remember growing up idolising it, Finney continued, about a week ago, continued of the very inclusive new iteration of Doctor Who. I think it was always inclusive, right? I think it was always inclusive. Also, Shudigat was sexually engaged Shudigat would take over from David Tennant after his second stint as the iconic Time Lord. I'm happy to be the representation of on the show. That means a lot to so many. Well, again, it's I get it means a lot to so many. I'm not sure what it means to the viewing public, right? The viewing public, essentially said no to this, right? Now, I think Russell Davies probably has the skill to be able to put this together to make it a workable narrative, right? To be good. But, like, the viewing public have not swallowed what has been dished out to them over the last 5 to 7 years, right? We just haven't. And I'm sorry the world didn't go the way these people thought they did, right? The way they thought it would, but it just hasn't, right? Speaking of British Vogue, Davis said of the casting, when you get into the casting room, there's only one question: can you act? Now, this is why I trust Rusty Davis, right? I really do. I think he's doing representational casting, right? I think Shooting Out was certainly on the shortlist because he's black, because his skin color, right? I think he saw Yasmin Finney in Heartstoppers and went, "Oh, she's so much fun. We can put her in as Ruth's daughter," right? But can she act, right? And that's really the bottom line, and that's why I'm still optimistic for this new era. And when she stole the show, she was immediately right. My greatest worry was whether the 57 other shows would snap her up instead. Well, she is highly in demand. That is true. David said watching Finney has been an education, adding, to see someone commanding such attention, and let's face it, enmity with grace and wit and a wonderful smile. What he's saying is true, right? What he's saying is true. Grace and wit and wonderful smile. That is all true. That yes, I'm not arguing with that, right? And that's why I think they're a very strong representative for the trans world. I think the person who met with Biden recently, I can't remember the name, isn't really trans or isn't. Yeah, I don't think they're really trans. I think they're doing a comedy bit, right? Because trans people normally want to be represented well, positively, right? I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Trans people would rather be represented in a positive manner than a negative manner. And I think that person who met with Biden predominantly is a comedic stereotype of trans people. Finney also reflected that success in a conversation with British Vogue, that she can now finally raise herself up the way that I should have been raised. Well, again, this idea of imprinting sexuality onto children, I think is. I understand their argument, right? I understand their argument, but I think there's a counter argument which is equally valid and dangerous. And all the people that doubted me, they've got nothing on me anymore. Not that I did it for them. But it's like a chair. No, I don't begrudge you the success. I just like I just like to know when people are realizing that everything I did from a young age, you're still at a young age, was I wasn't in the wrong. Everything I did was perfectly fine. If morality is relative, I don't think we can really say that. And I don't think we can really say if everything was fine until we see the result of this push to reassign the gender of children 20 years from now, right? And I'm sorry you want to know right now, right? But in 20 years from now, we'll have a little bit more data. I mean, look at the COVID vaccines. There's all these people. There's been an absolute rise in the and death rates of young men, right? I took the vaccine. I was happy to take I took the first 3 anyway. I took the vaccine. I'm like, fine, I'll do the vaccine, no problem, right? I wasn't anti the vaccine, but like to just say there's only one way of looking at things is probably bad, right? To not have a conversation is probably a bad idea. But again, I don't think this is going to help Doctor Who in the way you think it is, right? The Star confirmed the Doctor Who character will be trans during a powerful speech at London Trans. Obviously, they're going to be trans. The only person that Yasmin will play is trans. Because that's the moment. Because how many of you seen Doctor Who? She spoke to the crowd. Yeah, because that is also a moment, and that is also a show where my character is trans. Well, obviously. So, Boris Johnson, I hope you see Heartstoppers. He didn't. I hope you see Doctor Who because I exist. And I know you know I exist. We all exist. We're not going anywhere, period. So, this is the the narrative that they've been sold, right? That we want them, I don't share the worldview. I make no bones about that. But I don't want to say you don't exist, right? Yes, you exist, right? Yes, you exist. The question is it a normative and healthy state for a human being to be trans, right? I don't know the answer to that. You don't know the answer to that. Nobody knows the answer to that. Probably the data we'll get from the changing attitudes to being trans will let us know. Maybe people like Yasmin will be proved completely right. I get the feeling they won't, right? I get the feeling they won't, which is why people are nervous about her casting in Doctor Who, right? Because there's been a real push to try and convince the world that the things hardwired into our psyche, our gender, right, our sexuality are fluid, where I think for the vast majority of people, they're really, really not, right? And I think that's one of the major components that's caused a rejection of culture, rejection of entertainment over the last 5 years. Specifically Doctor Who, right? So people are nervous, specifically the stuff being put out by Disney, specifically the stuff being put out by Chris Chibnall's Doctor Who, right? So people are nervous, right? When about Yasmin Finn's casting. I am too. How will it turn out? I don't know. I tend to believe Russell Davies has enough of an understanding of humanity, of how people work, to be able to represent trans people in a way that won't repel the viewing public, right? I hope he's got the skill to do that. I think probably he does, right? I think probably does. But for me, that's actually the biggest question. What's it going to be moving forward? I think it's just mostly going to be fun Doctor Who, right? I really do, but time will tell, baby. Time will tell, and the clock is ticking. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.